Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to juggle 3 balls. Now, I've done a lot of tutorials, 3-ball tricks. I've done a lot with 4 balls. I've done a ton of stuff, but I've never done the basic pattern of 3. So this is how you're going to start. Now, the first thing that you're going to need to do is find something to juggle. Now, this may sound really simple, but it can be frustrating because I was there when I had, I was trying to juggle stuff that wasn't the same weight or shape, and it makes it a lot more difficult. So what I would suggest to you is either go out and buy juggling balls, or another good option is use baseballs, something laying around the house, just something with the same weight, same size, so that you don't end up throwing one higher than the other, because that just really throws you off and it's not easy to learn that way. You want something easy to catch and easy to throw. So that's my first suggestion. Okay, so now that you've found something comfortable to juggle with, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of them. You're going to leave the other ones on the ground. You don't need them yet. You're going to take one, and you're going to do the simple act of tossing it from one hand to the other hand. You may say that this is very simple and easy, and you are correct. But it is also very key to having a good rhythm once you put in 2 or 3. Because if you're throwing one even a little bit higher than the other one, when you go to juggle 3, you're going to have it all messed up and it's not going to look the way you want it to. So you're going to want to keep them right around the same height. I would suggest around the chin level is a good height with one. Once you feel comfortable with that, you can grab a second one. Now, when people first start juggling, or when they think they start juggling, they tend to do this, where they'll pass it over. So they're not really throwing them in the air, they're just throwing one and then passing the other one to the other hand. That's not a cascade pattern. That's not what you really want to learn. What you want to learn is you want to learn how to do a 3-ball cascade, which is the general juggling pattern. So to do that, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to take the ball in your right hand and throw it to your left hand, but like just how you have been. But once it reaches halfway, like up at its apex, you're going to want to throw from your left hand to your right hand. So it's going to look like this. It's simple, it's hard at first, but you will get it. Just focus on the fact that you have time. Don't rush it and throw them at the same time so you're going like this. You want a solid rhythm of you've thrown it, you wait, and then you throw it. You've got time. The worst thing that can happen is one hits the ground. It's not that bad. The world isn't going to end. So once you've come to that conclusion that you can do this, throwing from your right hand to your left hand, switch it up. Start with your left hand and go and then throw with your right hand. You're doing the same thing. Once you throw it out of your left and it hits its apex up here, you're throwing with your right over to your left, underneath it. What I always say when I'm trying to teach people is throw one up and then try and cut a line through the line that you just made. So say this is a marker. I just drew a line right to here. Draw a line with this one through it and make an X. That's what you're going for right there. So once you can fairly confidently start with your right and then your left, you're going to want to bring the tempo up a little bit. You're going to want to not stop in between each one. Because when you juggle 3, you're not going to have time to stop because there's going to be a third one in the air. So here we go. You're going to want to go like this. Slowly bring up the rhythm so that you're throwing them faster and faster. See, now if you look before, I've almost always got one in my hand when I'm going slowly. But with this, I've got, they're hitting my hand and then they're going out. I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing where I'm throwing them. I'm still making the line and cutting through it. And then once I've cut through it, I'm going to start from this hand. So X from starting from the right side, and then you're going to make an X starting with your left side right after. And then just back and forth. This is confusing at first, but I really think that if you just focus on the fact that it's the exact same thing you were doing here, only you're just skipping the pause, that you'll be able to pick it up fairly quickly. Alright guys, this is where you're going to start with 3 balls. I've done about 10 takes trying to figure out how to explain this the easiest way. Really how I learned is this. You're going to make the X that you've been doing. You're going to throw from your right with the one that has 2 balls in it. You're going to throw and make your X, and you're going to just keep on throwing. you're going to go opposite ways. You're going to go one with your right, one with your left, and one with your right. It's the consistent pattern. It's the fact that once the ball that you're seeing in the air reaches its apex, know what hand you're throwing with next, and then throw it underneath it. So, like that. Once you've thrown with your right, and then you've undercut it with your left hand to make your X, then you need to undercut this one. So you're going to go like this, undercut it. Start from that side, you're going to undercut the one that you threw from your right. All it is once you see one in the air, throw on the opposite way. It sounds way too simple. I've tried to explain it other ways. Really, when it comes down to it, is start with the one that has two hands in it, and once one is in the air, reaches its apex, throw with the hand that comes next. It reminds me of Just Keep Swimming from Finding Nemo. You just got to keep throwing. Keep throwing. Don't stop and wait. You got to have, once it reaches its apex, throw it. I wish I had wiser words to say about it, but when it really comes down to it, that's all you're doing, is you're tossing one to the other hand and from the other hand to the other hand. That's what it comes down to. Really, the instruction is in the previous steps. The fact that now you know that you can do that, which is a main part of juggling three. It's just a continuous pattern. So when it comes down to it, just keep throwing. And what I suggest is you throw 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then stop. Then start from your left hand. 1, 2, 3. Try and keep them the same height. Just flash it. That's all they call it. That's what they call it. Is once you just throw one of each object, and then stop and start from the other side, so that you don't get too sporadic. And if you are trying to do more throws and you're moving way out here, stop. Let them drop if you have to. Sit. Get back to your spot and then start again. The best advice I can say on getting to the point where you can juggle 3 consistently is just keep going. Persevere through it. It's going to be tricky at first. You're going to move around a lot. You're going to have throws that aren't right. If you see that you're throwing one way high with your left, go back to either throwing one at a time or 1, 2. 1, 2. And just get those down packed so that when you go to 3, you're not going to have to worry about the height of the throw or where it's going. You just have to worry about the rhythm. And that's going to come naturally if you just let it. Once it reaches the apex, you're throwing the next one. Throwing the next one. That's what it comes down to. I'm going to throw slow motion in for you. That's going to be the biggest help, I think, because when you see it, if you just try and mimic what I'm doing, it's going to help you out a lot. So there are a couple common mistakes that I want to go over. One of which is moving forward. You're going to be tossing, and you're going to be walking yourself off the plank in a way. The biggest thing that helped me was I stood in front of a wall, so that I couldn't make that mistake. And if I did, it hit the wall. And once it hit the wall, I let it drop. You can't catch one that hit the wall. So you want to keep them in toward yourself, like that, so that you're not going to be tossing them out. Because if you practice juggling and you're always walking, then you're never going to get to a point where you can stand still because you're practicing a habit that isn't good. So stand in front of a wall, don't catch the ones that hit off of it, and just keep your hands in so that you're not going to be running around while you're trying to juggle. Another problem that I have seen a lot of is rhythm, is people going like that, or they're trying to throw them all at once or whatever. Focus on hearing a rhythm where it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Keep that rhythm up, and it'll make it a lot easier for you, because when it comes down to it, if you are off rhythm, you're going to have to adjust the height of your throw to counteract that, which will make it much more difficult. So focus on your rhythm. Make sure you're not walking around. Dropping is fine. That's part of it. That's how you learn, is you practice. So if you're dropping them a lot, don't get discouraged. Go back to the 1, 2, and get your throws down, and it will genuinely, it will help you a ton. So hopefully that helped. I wish I had more wise words to say on 3, but I think when it comes down to it, it's a really simple act, and you just have to see it and understand what you're trying to accomplish to do it. So have a good one, guys.